Good evening. I would like to call to order the Keizer City Council in regular session. It is Monday, April 15th, 2024, and ask our city recorder to please call roll.
Councilor Reed?
Here.
Councilor Hessman?
Here.
Councilor Kohler?
Here.
Mayor Clark?
Here.
Council President Starr? Here. Councilor Dran?
Here.
Councilor Cross?
Here.
Youth Councilor Woodard?
Here.
Thank you very much. If you are able, I invite you to rise and all join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you all so much, and it is a pleasure this evening to welcome the students from Clear Lake Elementary School and McNary High School who participated in the If I Were Mayor contest. This is a contest done every year by the Oregon Mayors Association, and they invite students from across the state to submit posters for elementary students, essays for middle school, and video essays for high school. And I'm so pleased that some teachers this year took time to go ahead and run this contest within the schools. It was my pleasure to join Mrs. Rushton and the students out at Clear Lake Elementary this morning to announce the winners. It was wonderful to see the delight on the students' faces as they cheered for each other. What we're going to do is announce once again the honorable mentions and the winners for the posters. And we have them up here, so we'll do them one at a time. I'm going to come down and turn on that microphone so we can present to you, get some pictures, and you and your poster will be online. Then we will introduce the honorable mentions and then the winners for the video contest. And we have the winner that is advancing to the state competition. We will show that video. So let me come down to the other microphone and let's get started. Counselor? Sure, come on down. All right, first up is Allison Hall. Are you here tonight? You are. Congratulations. This is her poster. This is elementary.
Wonderful, thank you.
All right. Would you like to say a little bit about your poster? Right here.
Do I sit down now?
You can just get close to the microphone.
Okay. One thing I wanted to say is that I'll only do two for now, but one about the adoption centers is that I give money to adoption centers, but I realize that some kids don't have enough adoption centers. They don't have enough stuff to do school stuff and learn about stuff, or sometimes if they're too young just to have toys. So sometimes we just need to especially find them a loving home and stuff to give them for school and stuff. And then for the animal shelters, I've been seeing a lot of animals on the streets and a lot of signs saying lost pet or something like that. And there are some animals in those shelters that are disabled and stuff like that, and those people don't want to get them because they don't look the same, and that feels really sad.
Well, thank you for your warm heart and your practical solutions for taking care of those in our community, both our four-legged and our kiddos in our schools, for supporting foster families and foster kids. Great job. Congratulations. Oh, yeah, let's get a picture with the right one. I had the wrong, let's get the right one there. There you go. There we go. That'll be the right one. All right, great job. Okay, next up we have Sierra Salas. Are you here tonight? Okay, so she's not here tonight. This is her poster, And also an honorable mention, the quality of her work, and also similar to Allison, the thoughtfulness of the issues she brought up, taking care of people who are experiencing homelessness in our community, and also taking action to keep our city beautiful and clean. Congratulations to Sierra Salas. And Peyton Severinson. So this is also an honorable mention. This is her poster. And again, beautiful artwork, very thoughtful. When you get a chance to see these, and all these posters will be on display on the student art wall over here in our public gallery, so you'll be able to see those. But she took a lot of time to think about the needs of people in our community, the cost of providing for gas, food, rent, and so forth for families in their school, in their neighborhood, and people that they know. And again, very thoughtful in both the things she identified and ways to solve those problems. So Peyton Severinson. Okay. The top three, the winners this year, starting with Roman Morales. This is his poster. So a couple of the things that he covered in his poster, again, with housing, with job skills, taking care of folks. Oh, there you are. Come on up. Roman Morales, everybody. Good job. I've got a gift card for you here. And if we could get a picture, would that be okay? All right.
Somebody keeps flashing.
All right, do you want to talk a little bit about your poster?
I have to.
No, you don't. All right. The second in our three winners is Daylin Ward, who's right here. Congratulations. Great job. A gift card for you. Okay.
Flash away, I dare you.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your poster? So one of the things I loved about Daylin's poster, like so many of them, really took some time to think about what people need in our community, a real thoughtfulness and caring for your community, your neighbors, and finding really practical solutions. And that's what Keizer's about. Congratulations. And this year's winner, being advanced to the state competition, is Tara McDougall. Great job. And there's a gift card for you here.
Excellent, congratulations. Okay, look this way. Very good. Good. I'm missing all the good stuff on the back, there too, all the colors and the braids. Looking
There we
good.
go. So do you want to talk a little bit about your poster? Just close enough to the microphone where we can hear. So some of the things you mentioned in your poster.
I know how bills work and the taxes of being a mayor. I know how that works, and I also noticed that a lot of homeless people also need help, and animals also need a lot of help.
Great job. Thank you so much. Good job. She knew more about how to fund city services than some adults in our community, so well done. People need to understand that, you know, what we do as a community, that we use the funds made available to us as a city to provide services. And she caught that plus the practical solutions for our community. So I'm really proud she'll be representing Keizer in the elementary competition coming up. For our video, Mrs. Reed's class.
Those are the follow-ups, and they're not here.
Okay. So the honorable mentions, there were 4 entrants in the competition this year. Honorable mention, Dominic Snyder, Aurora Timmons, Atticus Lush, are you here? Nope. And the winner, and that's being advanced to the state competition this year, is Ethan Eggert. And we have his video. Come on down. Great job. Gift card here for you. And we'll do the presentation. We'll see your video.
Look this way. There we go. Look at that. Good deal.
All right. So we're going to show your video. Go ahead and have a seat. Yes.
Community connections through public climate-friendly projects like community gardening or green construction, with the focal point of working toward. I'm Ethan Eggert, a senior at McNary High School in Keizer, and I'm a passionate student captivated by the climate crisis and its solutions. If I were elected as mayor of Keizer, I would be focused on building lasting community connections through public climate-friendly projects like community gardening or green construction, with the focal point of working towards a carbon-neutral environment here in Keizer. Hosting community construction and outdoor events would aid immensely in building a more inclusive, welcoming, and environmentally sustainable city. Firstly, I would encourage land use and zoning for community projects by partnering with the planning department. Community gardens, compost bins, rainwater harvesting, and recycling programs are all great projects that the community can come together to work on to create a more sustainable Keizer. Additionally, bringing the community together would be a great opportunity to form deeper connections and friendships. Another one of my goals would be to create a stronger link between the city departments and the community. Gathering community feedback and hearing the needs of the city is an integral component of ensuring community well-being and growth. I would host meetings and gatherings where the council can listen to the needs of the community and take action regarding the most pressing issues. Creating a new simple and accessible system for community members to submit feedback or suggestions would also be another effective communication channel between city council members and the population, forming a strong coupling that will address community concerns for years to come. Partnering with the Public Works Department, I will also host opportunities for city residents like park or street cleanups, tree planting, and trail maintenance that will make our town a more enjoyable place to work and play. These efforts also positively impact the environment, as an investment in parks has been shown to reduce carbon emissions and provide environmentally friendly transportation between popular destinations within the city center. While the climate crisis can be frightening, working together as a community can reduce the effects of climate change. As a mayor, it's important to bring the community and local government together to create a better city, and through my focus and dedication to Keizer, our city can thrive and be a fantastic place to live.
Inspired your work?
Sure. So this year, the theme for the If I Were Mayor contest was about unity. And personally, in my own life, the climate crisis is something that's very captivating to me. So with this video, I really wanted to try to create a connection between the theme and the climate crisis. And yeah.
With your teacher,
Yes.
that would be great. We'll get a picture with Mrs. Reed, whose class,
Right, you're standing
Yeah.
here.
all right. Is that better? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, act like you're happy. Good deal. Thank you.
All right. Again, congratulations. Thank you very much. Well done. Good work.
Thank you for being here.
They already have them, actually. Those are duplicates. So they're good. Well, again, we're very proud of our students, and thank you so much for coming tonight and letting us celebrate your achievements and continue the great work as you look for your future. Someday, one of you will be sitting here.
I graduated from Clear Lake in 1999, so she's not kidding. It can totally happen. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
All right. So let's go on to now for the report from For the Love of the Game. Mickey Walker is here to show us the great work that's been happening out at Keizer Little League Park. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Yeah. I don't get the same applause. That's all right. I'm just kidding.
Once I see the pictures.
Yes, thank you all. So I know that most of you have already seen the reporting that was sent over, so I'll try to be relatively to the point on everything and not need to stick on anything for too long. But some of the really good things that happened, fine.
I think we've got your pictures. Is that correct? Yep.
But some of the good that happened in 2023 was we booked twice as many tournaments as we had in our previous year, which is a big deal, obviously, for the Little League fields down there. And it's really what drives the economic impact and helps the Little League fields be able to gain the revenue that's needed to make the upgrades that we're looking to make. We've booked even more for 2024, which we're really excited about. Almost every single weekend is booked out from now until the end of October. So I will just kind of scroll through some of the upgrades here. I just kind of highlighted this piece here, but the record attendance that we had was exciting for us and something that we're happy to build with. Again, these are just some of the general things here, but we rebuilt all the way down to the studs, the press box and the dugouts on field 2, one of the softball fields at the top right as you enter the complex, and that was with help from Keizer Little League itself, and we thank them for their efforts on that, and President Dave Cleland, and we thank them for their efforts on that. You can kind of see the finished product here. Redid the whole thing all the way down to the stub. So some of the other things, resurfaced the dugout on field 5, repainted a bunch of different press boxes, which I don't have perfect photos in here for, but we did repaint the press boxes on fields 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, which is just, again, general stuff that is done. It's not really anything big, but just typical upkeep. We did have to repaint the dugout on field 6 multiple times, and that was due to the extended vandalism issues that we have down there with tagging, including, we've caught teenagers kicking out the sides of dugouts, taking crowbars to the press boxes, and so many just different small things like that. But so just other things that we've had to do. One of the other big projects, let me see if I can scroll here. Was to trim and reduce a bunch of the heavy overgrowth that has happened along the bigger fields 9 through 12 out on the far side of the complex. And then in addition to that, we trimmed some of the trees heavily that were up close towards the road there between fields 1 and 3. They just had a lot of low-hanging branches and trimmed some other trees that were blocking foul poles, things of that nature. Hopefully I have most of this in order here, but we also added, here's the tree trimming stuff, but we also added handrails. Here's the picture a little bit further on, but added handrails to the tall bleachers on field 2. And repaired, a little bit further on here, repaired the retaining wall that was originally kind of held together by railroad ties, and it was starting to just general decay, and it's a little bit past this, but we repaired that as well. So some of the larger projects, again, those are just kind of general repairs and upgrades, but some of the larger projects that we did were converted Field 10 to accommodate larger fields, so now it can not only hold young baseball and softball, so T-ball and youth, but it can also go up to hold older levels that will be at 80-foot bases, 90-foot bases, et cetera. And so it's more easily usable. With only one full-size field down there, it was really necessary to try to convert another field, even just for practice, to be able to have another full-size field that the older kids could use. We added the additional concession stand, which I think we may have scrolled past on here, but it added an additional concession stand, which was very helpful for any time that we had those big tournaments down there. One concession stand is tough to keep up with, 1,000 people in the park. We added softball bullpens to fields 8, 7, 5, and 3. Before, the only field that had softball bullpens was field 2. Now all of the full-size softball fields have access to bullpens close, where before they were just baseball bullpens. We dug them out and made them flat so that they were accommodating for softball as well. But the softball fields, which would be fields 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8 now all have close access to softball bullpens, which wasn't the case before. In addition, we installed turf in the bullpens that did not have it. There was some turf laying that was still kind of on site from when we took over the complex that we ended up installing in the bullpens there. So that's kind of just some of the good stuff that we did through there. You can see again some of the pictures here. But the biggest challenges facing the complex in the coming years is really the vandalism problem that we had. It was really quite expansive. It wasn't surprising that, every week or every other week that we were experiencing tagging down on some of the dugouts, which that in itself isn't a big deal. It's just paint. But when we started having to deal with, kids mostly kicking out the sides of dugouts or damaging press boxes, it did become a larger issue for us. One of the other ones that we have down there is it's a popular spot for homeless people to set up camp, and those dugouts become popular places, and so it's a larger issue to kind of clean up a lot of the messes and things down there. One of the other pictures that some of you may have been trying to figure out what the heck it was when we sent over the report was the porter potty that is up on the screen right now, and that was actually some type of explosive put in there that just blew it to heck. And so, that just dealing with a lot of different stuff like that. We had porter potties tipped over, and so just a lot of random vandalism and things of that nature. We did have break-ins to both the concession stand and the field house. The kids who broke into the concession stand were scared away, and I believe KPD actually caught up to them. But a lot of just kind of, mischief going on down there. Already mentioned the crowbars and all of that stuff. So that's kind of everything from last year. Wanted to touch on some of our current projects that are in place. A couple of the pictures already ended up in here at the very end of this report of the things that we were doing just before this report was needed. But there's a couple other things that were actually finished up just a couple of days after we submitted the report that I wanted to touch on too. So we did add a bunch of professional quality dirt to all of the different fields besides field 3. And it was professionally done by Green Acres Landscaping. They graded it, they tilled it in, and it was really quite helpful. And additional, some added drainage was added on field 5, which was really needed. So that was a big deal to get those fields graded out again and level with high quality dirt. That a lot of it actually came from the excavation project at Volcano Stadium that we transported that dirt over to the Little League fields. The other exciting thing that we just completed again a couple of days after we submitted this report was adding turf home plate areas, which is batters boxes, areas for the catchers on fields 4, 5, 6, and 7, the most heavily used fields, and this is just going to drastically increase those field's playability for the coming years. As most of you know, the mound and the home plate area, when affected with rain or weather, those are typically the two areas that cause a game or a practice to be canceled first. And now all of the fields have access to not only turf mounds, or I shouldn't say all of the fields, all of these 4 fields have access to not only the turf mounds and turf home plate areas, but turf softball pitching mats as well. So it should drastically increase that. And then it also helps us with maintenance. We don't have to spend the manpower and energy anymore trying to repair with clay the massive holes that you get from wear and tear on the batter's boxes. So just really exciting for us, and assuming all goes well, which we have no reason to expect it won't, we look forward to hopefully doing the rest of the fields in the fall the same way. And the hope for this upcoming year is hopefully by the end of the year, we'll be able to have the revenue generated to turf one whole infield, and that's kind of the goal for this upcoming year. So that's kind of everything I have. I'm happy to answer some questions. Appreciate you letting me come and talk about this.
All right, thank you very much. Great pictures. Questions? Councilor Hussman?
Yeah, sorry that my kids were in so many of the pictures, and
Yeah.
they're usually there working with me.
That's how the next generation learns, isn't it?
That's right.
Working alongside.
We need the kid pictures, Mickey. It's all. Madam Mayor, thank you so much. Mickey, if you don't mind going a level down on restrooms and parking and where you kind of see those going, the exploding porta potty photos are necessary, not necessarily. It's a serious meeting, so it's hard to take those seriously, but it's obviously a big issue, and you guys are seeing that. So with regard to restrooms and parking, you know, what are you thinking for this coming year and then beyond?
Yeah, we still were able to retain our relationship with the porta potty company despite the incidents. So we are bringing in the same amount of porta potties that we had last year, and of course to have the on-site restrooms. I think long term it would be realistic to expand those restrooms or look at something that's more permanent. But you know, that again, that would be something that's a larger investment down the road.
And then do you mind just touching on parking as well, just what you've seen? And
Sure, yeah, the parking, especially for the large tournaments, becomes you know, congested, especially on Sundays, because typically on the Saturdays, they're able to take advantage of the church parking lots that are around, and it doesn't end up affecting the traffic as much on Ridge Drive there. But Sundays, when the church parking lots are already full with services, the parking aspect is a real challenge, and I don't really know, besides expanding the space for parking, what could be done. I think paving and lining the gravel lot would help some, but even increasing its capacity by 10 or 20% wouldn't really put a big dent in the issue when it comes to Sundays and the traffic congestion.
okay, appreciate your insight. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go Council President Starr and then Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Mickey. It's good to see you. My first question, and I have a few, I know, surprise, but the park camera project, is the Little League Park on the list to help hopefully alleviate some of this issue?
Yes, Madam Mayor and Council President Starr, they are on the list, and Mickey said, hey, you know, it's on our list to put cameras in, and we said we want you to be a part of our enterprise system. So we have a location, that's going to be one of the easier ones to deal with because they already have a pole that we can use it.
Great, thank you. Follow up?
Follow up?
Can you talk a little bit about your engagement with the neighborhood, the neighborhood group that the Little League Parks are located within? I don't know if you've got a copy of the public comment that was submitted, but maybe you could talk about your process for community engagement, and then maybe make a point to circle back with our neighborhood president.
Sure, yeah, I'm happy to, and actually already reached out to her. I went through every line of communication I have, and I didn't receive anything from her. The only thing that I did receive was a request that was actually sent to Keizer Little League, separate from us, to President Dave Cleland back in May of 2023, asking about using the fields for a community event. And he CC'd me on the email and said, this is the person to reach out to, and I never did hear from her. So to touch on that specifically, and I've already reached out and said, hey, I
Great.
saw this, and I just wanted to make sure that we connected.
Thank you.
So to touch on the community engagement piece of it, we are hyper responsive, and I think most people who have worked with me know that I'm pretty hyper responsive in people who reach out. So as far as maybe what we're doing proactively, I can't tell you there's a ton that we're doing proactively, but we are very engaged with anyone who raises concerns with us.
Great. Okay, thank you. I have another follow-up.
Yes.
You included in your annual report your 2024 supervision plan. Can you explain what that is? And then you list yourself as the contact for all weekend tournaments.
Yeah.
So of the groups that you have listed in this supervision plan, what is it? And then how often are the weekend events in the fields used by local Keizer based or the area local
Yeah,
groups?
absolutely. Typically, they don't really schedule anything on the weekends as far as Keizer-based teams. We did have a request just literally today from Keizer Little League for one field slot on every Sunday through May. So the requests are typically very minimal, and we still try to accommodate any requests that we do get. As far as the supervision plan goes, that's just direct contacts for the folks who are using the fields. So some of those are just heads of different organizations that are playing down on the fields.
Thank you. And I just have one more.
One more.
Thank you. On your profit and loss, you listed under income an entity called Concessions, Inc. I tried to look them up in the business registry for the state of Oregon, and I couldn't find them. The one that is here and in here for Concessions, Inc. isn't an active entity. So I was curious if you could tell me where they're based out of.
It could just be a typo. The concessions are all operated under For the Love of the Game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we operate all of that.
So it's not an incorporated?
That's correct, yes. We operate it all ourselves.
Okay, so it's not a corporation?
Correct.
Perfect. Thank you for that clarification.
All right. Counselor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you for being here. My kiddos are grown up, so it's been a while with the KYSA and Keizer Little League. Can you walk me through the process of the local kids? I know that Sunday through Thursday or Monday through Thursday, you can walk me through that. Do the kiddos get to play for free, or are they charged for practice times?
Are you referring to the?
Like any of the teams, and I could be wrong about this. Do they have to pay to practice out there, our Keizer teams?
They do. They do have to pay for field slot fees, yes. Yeah.
Do you know what those are?
They are $50 for the small field and $75 for the large field.
Has it always been that way?
No, per our contract, the agreement, this is the first year that it jumped up to $50. In the past, it was 40 and I believe 65, and this year it jumped to 50 and 75.
How do you think that that's affected Keizer kids practicing out there?
We work really hard with the local leagues to figure out a way to offset those fees. In fact, Keizer Little League has an arrangement with us where they do work improvement and volunteer opportunities, so they don't actually pay for any field slots. And MYB actually helped us a lot with the turf project that we had, where we just put in the fields. And I really do want to shout them out because they worked very hard Saturday through Monday to help us get that stuff done. And all of that volunteering goes to being able to offset their field fees. So we try to put in multiple different opportunities to offset as many field fees as possible.
Thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, I just noticed last year I saw some kiddos practicing at Claggett, and I was like, why are they practicing there?
Mostly availability, truthfully. During the week, the practice times are extremely full, and there's not really any fields available. There are some on the back fields, but mostly it's availability.
Okay, sorry, one follow-up. So how do you go about, like, are they grandfathered in, or like, if I'm a new coach, like, how do I get into that spot if they're so full? Are they just reaching out to you earlier if somebody's watching?
No, we actually prioritize Keizer Little League and MYB, and their field slots get put in first, and then we fill in with everything else. So this is just what they have requested for field slots, and then we lock them in, and again, fill in with other organizations after that, which are mostly independent organizations. There are some other I don't know, Keizer-based teams, but that aren't a part of the two big organizations that we generally fill in after the two large ones.
So $75 for like a 2-hour practice?
That's only for the big field, which is Field 6. It's the only one that's charged at that rate, and yes, it is a 2-hour time slot.
But $50 for the other?
For the smaller fields, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. Any other questions? Counselor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Walker, thank you for coming and visiting with us a little bit. I was at the fields this weekend, and all the fields were very manicured very well, and they look good. There's very well mowed, and anyway, they all look good.
Appreciate that.
So it's $50 to use the field for practice. What does it cost them to do the games?
It's the same.
So whether they're practicing or a game, it still costs them the same amount?
Yeah, we look at a field slot as just a field slot. So whether it's used for a practice or used for a game is indifferent, yes.
And so is there a responsibility for the teams to line the fields or to rake the fields afterwards, or is it just, you just use it and walk away?
Typically, there's been in the past, and it was kind of a situation that we walked into, that the organizations were willing to help out with the prepping of the fields. We still typically do a lot of the larger stuff, the mowing and the dragging and things of that nature. And then if we were, the challenge for us is that if we were to chalk the fields early in the day, there's a very good opportunity that they would be messed up come game time. And so typically they end up getting chalked by a coach or someone else with the teams just before the game begins. And that is something, again, that we're really happy with the turf improvements that have been made there, because no longer will you have to do batters boxes or the lines on those fields, at least in those small areas. And now the prep is going to look like just drawing 2 lines.
Follow-up?
Oh, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. A couple other things. Is there a way that our local teams can, you talked a little bit about they could do some maintenance or something to reduce their field fees, their slot fees. I also noticed a big sign that said "Home of the Trash Bandits." So does that mean that they have exclusive use of that field, or is that, how they just use that for, explain that to me.
Sure. Well, actually, this year they're not using it at all. It was just an agreement over the last 2 years, and they didn't actually have exclusive use to it. They used it Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then they shared it with McNary Youth Baseball on the other days. That sign was put up by them as a, kind of taking pride in that field, as that was kind of a field that they chose to adopt. They rebuilt the dugouts, rebuilt the press box. They took care of all of the mowing, all of the maintenance of that field, including aerating and bringing in sand and all of that stuff. So that was, something, an opportunity that any organization would have given the right circumstances, and something that we've worked with MYB to do similar things with. McNary Youth Baseball and Keizer Little League right now has a similar arrangement. So there are those opportunities available, absolutely. And to be clear, that sign needs to be taken down. They're not even using really the Little League fields much this year. They've graduated on.
And
One more?
Oh, I got 2 more.
2 more
I'm learning
from Council President Starr.
Well done, student Kohler.
All right, Grasshopper, go.
So I noticed that you're doing some drainage work.
Mm-hmm.
Before you did the major drainage work and replacing and putting new drains in, did you check and see what the deficiencies were with the current drainage system?
Yeah, we had that all professionally quoted and done by Green Acres, and so they came in and took an assessment of kind of what was there existing, at least in having to do with Field 5, which was the drainage area that we were most concerned with, as it's the one that was most affected. We've had issues with it even in April, not being playable after a couple weeks of dry weather, just because it's so poor on that one field specifically. And what was discovered is that there really wasn't any drainage underneath. And so the decision on their part was to go with some French drains that led to a couple of dry wells, and then an additional drain that led from the gravel path on well, I guess it would be the north side of the park, led past to one of the existing drains.
Have you cleaned the sumps out that were up there? Because when I went by and looked at them, the two up at the top of the hill on each side of the field house, they were full. They were plugged. They looked like they hadn't been cleaned out for a long time. Full of leaves and other things, and there's no way that there's going to be any water going through them the way that the drains were plugged.
Yeah, it's certainly, and I mean, I certainly don't think it would hurt to do those things. Based off a report that we actually got from the city regarding the drainage that's existing there, those lines don't lead anywhere. They kind of just lead to nothingness. And so what we needed to do was to build something that would lead to somewhere. And I'm sure that those, the research that was done by the city is available, but those lines don't actually lead anywhere. They're kind of just pipes, at least what was seen, that lead to nothing.
Actually, they do lead somewhere, and yeah, they really do lead somewhere. And so maybe
I hope so. I really do.
well, maybe we can visit about that, but I think you're doing some work that doesn't have to be done, and there's some maintenance there that would help those fields a lot, not be oversaturated.
Certainly.
Soggy, I think, is spongy, that's what they used at the Parks Board meeting. And last question.
One more.
Are we not watering the edges of the fields?
Which areas are you talking about? I'm sorry, do you mean outside the
top.
Fields or the inside around the edges?
Up at the top between the concession and the fields, and then from the top fields to the parking area?
So again, just to clarify, you're talking about outside the fields themselves?
Yes.
Okay. There aren't any sprinklers that are in those areas. We only have access to the quick connects that are on the fields. There are a couple of fields that have automatic sprinklers, but there's only one specific quick connect, and it's on deep right field on field 3 that touches specifically those areas outside of the fields. I think I misspoke there actually. On Field 2 has some automatic sprinklers on the outside closest to the gravel lot there that do hit that area as well.
Yeah, well, there's sprinklers on all that area up above and in between the concession stands, those 2 concession stands that you have, and all in the big field, all the way around on the outside, there's sprinklers on all of those too. So I just noticed that those didn't appear to be used last year.
Yeah, and I guess we didn't have necessarily full information going into this, that we were told that there weren't anything there. And we've tested the current sprinkler system and haven't come across those. And so I would be thrilled if there are. We were just told that there weren't.
They're there.
All right, give them a map. All right, sounds good. Any other further questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Play ball.
That's right.
Okay. And I know there's someone with public comment who has a question, so, Mr. Walker, if you could stick around for just a little bit, we do have somebody with a question under public comment. So, that'd be fantastic. But we are going now to committee reports, and we have Mr. Lawyer on the Parks update.
All right, good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. For the record, Matt Lawyer, Keizer Parks Board, and I'm gonna go almost 100% from memory, but I have Lisa and Gwen behind me to catch me if I screw up. So we met last week for our monthly Parks Board meeting, and we started off with probably some of the best public comment we've had from anybody in a really long time, and is a young lady, Madam Mayor, that you introduced me to via email with Nevaeh Music. And immediately I recognized her, as I also recognized that despite multiple times reaching out, I never followed up on our opportunity to meet with her, to which point she said, yeah, that's why I'm here, I chased you down. And from that point on, we were instant best friends. So what was exciting about her testimony, frankly, was just the level of energy that she brought to the table. And I think I said something to the effect of sometimes we get so bogged down in the routine of doing business that sometimes we forget what's important, and that's the users of the facilities, particularly the skate park, and that sometimes the adults in the room just kind of have to pull their heads out of the clouds, which I edited on the fly. I was very proud of myself. So yeah, 10 points for improv classes. It was a very good conversation. She's got a lot of really good ideas, particularly around trying to reduce, drug activity over at the park. I think I asked, that's great, but how do we make sure we don't have people cracking their skulls? And there was another young man that was here talking, and he said, well, I don't know. I said, so you're the one guy over there that's wearing the helmet. And he just well, no. And, but it was a really good conversation. There's a couple ideas that she's got around some events and things like that she can do that I think have a lot of merit. And just hearing their excitement and their desire to want to do good things and continue to do good things at Carlson Skate Park is very important. And, I kind of harken back to that being a catalyst for a conversation that became much broader when we had a young man come and basically, tell the Parks Board, hey, we have a failing piece of asset here in the city. You guys need to get your story together and figure this out. And I remember we sat through, I think 2 meetings sort of arguing about this very little bit amount of money that we were going to put towards Carlson Skate Park at the time. And we did some, Public Works did the work to do some grinding and some sort of surface level work on it that did make some improvements. And obviously when it was redone, that became a very big thing. So just really appreciated the level of consistency and dedication these young people had to come forward and say, hey, we got some ideas. Let's make some things happen. So that was really cool. I will be following up with Nevaeh because now she knows where to find me, which is awesome. It's really unfortunate that she's taken off to go to college next year. It's great for her, bad for us, because I wish we could have caught her a couple years ago because she's got a tremendous voice and a presence, I think, that demands attention. I think she's going to do great things. So shout out to her and all that hard work. We went through our typical sort of parks reports. Everything is going well. Robert's staying very busy. We're finding lots of new opportunities to do work in the park system. Mowing's happening despite the fact that it's spongy. They got wide tires. Now, there's a joke here, and Gwen is actually the one that coined spongy, and we've tried to really soak that up as much as possible.
Oh.
Come on.
Nope. Splash.
All right. Things are getting out of control. The one thing that we did talk about, and so I'm a big proponent of giving credit where credit's due, and I think it was probably about 3-4-ish years ago at Soggy Day in the Park, Chariot's director Navarro came forward and said, hey, I got a really cool idea. And I said, what's that idea? And he was surprised, I think, that I was receptive to his idea, and I like ideas, and that's great. And his idea at the time was trying to look at getting Chariot service down to Keizer Rapids. And so I know that we've engaged sort of, at least casually in the conversation, and I had a really good opportunity to talk with the city manager and the mayor and actually Councilor Kohler after the awesome opening groundbreaking, which was one of the coolest groundbreakings for the soccer facility. And the Parks Board decided to take a vote to unanimously, -1, express a desire for the city council to engage in conversations with Chariots to get service to Keizer Rapids. Now, that's a big thing. It's not just as simple as turning the bus right, coming off of Windsor Island, and going down that way. It does impact the entire system, and we recognize that, but it's a necessary conversation because not only are we not servicing the park for that regional opportunity, we're actually missing a whole part of the neighborhoods. And leaving it to the experts in terms of the how and the why, and that's going to happen. I think that in conversations with the Public Works Director, he said there's some specific things that he has in mind, and there's other things that exist in terms of the needs for the city. So the Parks Board did very overwhelmingly support asking you all to engage in those hard conversations and really get this thing going, because with the soccer complex coming on board in the fall, it's a very, very necessary thing. So
Mr. Brown, do you want to give Mr. Lawyer and the rest of us a quick update?
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council and Mr. Lawyer. I have a meeting with
Alan Pollock, the Executive Director for Chariots, on Thursday morning to talk about that.
Great,
This project, this conversation is well underway.
great.
Yes.
And in my other life, I also have 3 other electeds that would be happy to sign a letter of support if that would be helpful. So just let me know, like by tomorrow.
You know
Kidding,
where
not
they
kidding.
live.
Yeah. So we're very excited about that. Other than that, things are getting underway. We did talk a little bit about some of the projects and things that are going on, and we just continue to overwhelmingly support the great work that Public Works is doing in our park system and look forward to projects coming up. While it's not exactly parks related, it is in the park, and so I'm just going to put a friendly plug in here that I will be coming forward very soon with our application for Soggy Day in the Park. We're going to do it this year again on Memorial Day weekend, so I hope to have that in next week. So that'll be fun.
Mark your calendars now for Memorial Day weekend. It'll be Saturday
Yep,
for Soggy Day at the park.
that's correct.
Fantastic.
And I have confirmed we will have tacos again for the 3rd year in a row.
So,
Assuming that all the things happen and we do the paperwork and the insurances and all the things,
well,
right? Yeah.
that's something you're good at. Any other questions on the Parks report? Councilor Husband?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. An extra point to continue with discussions with Chariots. Mr. Lawyer, you may have been privy to this, you may have not. Feel free to hit me either way, but I understand that the Chariots Board of Directors had a work session this past week, and in that work session, one of the topics of interest was bicycle rideshare feasibility within the city, kind of like the Nike Town bikes in Portland, just writ for the Salem Keizer area. Chariots is looking right now at simply funding a feasibility study to see if that's something that they could support within their transit network. That would be theoretically followed up by some sort of pilot program. Either way, we're definitely talking a couple year time horizon because that's how fast these things are going to move, but potentially a card that we could play as well when we talk with the Chariots board and management.
Yeah, I mean, I think, that's for the big thinkers. I'm not a big thinker. I just get things done, so.
Methinks thou protestest too much. All right. Anything else?
I don't mean to be flippant, Councilor Husband,
Yeah.
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. I just, that's.
Councilor Kohler has a question.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Lawyer, there was some discussion about a pavilion out at Keizer Rapids Park. And just to follow up just a little on that is that I understand that the chamber has contacted somebody for some preliminary thoughts and maybe drawings, so.
Yep, nope, thank you for the pinch hit on that. Sorry.
All right. Anything else? All right, thank you so much. Appreciate everything. Any other committee reports tonight? Maybe I miss. Okay. And neighbor associations, I know you're here, but you're here for your reports, so that will come under administrative action. Okay. We're good there. Let's go to public comment. This time is provided for citizens to address the council on any matters other than those on the agenda scheduled for public hearing. We have one public hearing this evening. That is a resolution exemption of municipal judge services agreement from competitive bidding and awarding agreement to A. Carl Myers. If you're here for that, stand by. And I have a few people signed up, but before I do, and for public comment, I want to acknowledge for the record, good grief, a written comment from Tammy Kunz, Keizer, Greater Northeast Keizer Neighbors Association for the love of the game. And this is the letter that was just referenced a short time ago for love of the game and working in collaboration and communication with the Greater Northeast Keizer Neighbors Association. So that will be followed up on, or has been followed up on, as I understand it. Daryl Kotick, you had a question. You're here?
I think they went out.
They went out.
Because Mickey never came.
Oh, they went to go talk. Well, that takes care of that. And that's how we get it done. That's fantastic. All right, so we'll let them have a conversation, and if they need us, they will let us know. Jonathan Thompson, Public Art.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. For the record, I'm Jonathan Thompson. I live on Trent Avenue. And while I'll be before you later to talk about Keizer Fest, what I'm going to talk about now has absolutely no relation to the Keizer Chamber of Commerce. And before my fellow board member, Councilor Duran, disowns me, this has nothing to do with the Keizer Chamber. So when I mentioned to Mr. Lawyer I was here to talk about public art, he thought I was talking about graffiti. I assure you I am not. But there's, at the corner of River Road and Chemawa, we have two items that don't seem to fit. On one side, we have a beautiful sign that has Keizer's motto, pride, spirit, and volunteerism. It's gorgeous. On the other side, we have a beautiful bird. The problem is its name. Cold, wet eagle doesn't fit. Now that we own the artwork, I think it's time for a more fitting name. Something strong like maybe the Sentinel, something that commands respect like Kyle, Dan, or Laura, something impressive. So in all seriousness, I am here to ask the city council tonight to talk with relevant city committees to undertake a public process to rename the beautiful bird that stands guard over the crossroads of Keizer. Not only do I think it's fitting, I also think it would be a wonderful way to involve the community in our public art program. So that's what I've got.
Interesting idea. That was the name that it came with.
Oh, I understand that, but we own it now.
This is a true statement. Does anybody object to kicking this to the Public Arts Commission for conversation? We're going to kick it there for that conversation. And also then the commission can also talk about the rules that we have around naming, because I'm not familiar with them. So that'd be an opportunity to have that conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Kotick. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mayor Clark, Council. Thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate what you do for the city of Keizer. And I don't want to waste a lot of the council's time. I had a chance to talk with Mickey outside. I was educated a lot tonight about what's going on there. And I got his phone number. I'm satisfied with following up with him outside of this. And if I have anything else, I can bring it back here. He needed to get home to put his kid to bed, so I was glad that we could work that out. So thank you so much. The one thing I did have a question, I asked about the profit loss statement. Can I get that from him, or do I need to go through you?
It's published online. It is in our council packet for tonight. If you go to the Keizer.org website, go under City Council. All of our packet material is public, and it's right there for you. All the pictures, the profit loss, everything is in our packet tonight.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, then we have Samantha Ryderbush, Carla Moreno, and Percy Monk from their new Comcast Xfinity store and Internet Essentials program. Good to see you.
I'm gonna let them, go ahead, Percy. I'm gonna learn from the mayor here and just lean really close and give them the seats.
You can pull up a chair if you'd like. They're not attached.
Still learning from the mayor. Good evening. My name is Samantha Ritterbush, and I am the Local Government Affairs Director for Comcast in the Pacific Northwest region. My territory is primarily Oregon and Southwest Washington. Thank you, Mayor, for the invite to celebrate some exciting news that I'm going to say for Carla Morena, one of my colleagues, in just a moment. And then I brought Percy Monk here with me as well to give an overview of a program I'm hoping you're familiar with. And if not, we can send you information, but our Internet Essentials program. So I'm going to kick it over to Carla.
Hi, oh my God, I hope you guys can hear me well. I'm Carla Moreno. I am the store manager for the Keizer Station Xfinity. We just opened up our store February 21st. Our store hours are Monday through Saturday, and they are 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And Sunday it is reduced hours from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So yeah, that's a little bit about the store. A little bit about myself is I'm actually hitting my 11th month today with Xfinity. So I mean, I'm still new to the business, but I'm also really young. So I'm trying to inspire my reps to just kind of promote. Promotion is really not easy, obviously. You have to work for it, but it's easy to climb up there, you know? So that's what I'm trying to do, especially at a young age. I'm just trying to show them how to succeed in the business and what you need to do to get there. I do have a store that is very tiny. It's very humble. It's very humble, very tiny. I love my store. It's very quiet. So even if you guys want to go and like sit down and like talk to us, go, because we're really like just there to really help you guys out. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I would like to invite you all to our grand opening, May 10th. We don't have a set time yet, so we will let you guys know on when that time will be. Please go. I'm super excited for it. Like I said, our store is very tiny, but the outside, the parking lot is huge. So the party will most likely be at the parking lot. But it's really nice. It's close to the REI at Keizer Station, next to the Red Wings. You guys might have seen some signs saying now open. So that's there. It's literally right across from like McDonald's. So go to McDonald's, come to us. Everything will be good. Yeah. So now I'm gonna pass the mic to Percy.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Percy Monk. I'm the Senior Manager of Indirect Sales for Comcast for the state of Oregon. At Comcast, we believe in creating an equitable society and really leveraging access to our digital market. So I just wanted to speak a little bit about our Internet Essentials program, which is basically our way of providing fast speeds at low cost, really maximizing access for all qualifying families with plans as low as $9.95. And that will include installation, activation, and equipment. So if and when you guys have some time, please come visit us at Carla's store. We really would welcome you.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions? Well, thank you for choosing Keizer, and we're looking forward to May 10th for your grand opening. I see it's a Friday morning, so hopefully a lot of folks can get there to learn more. And we'll keep on getting the word about Internet Essentials. That is so important for so many of the families in our community, so their kiddos can do homework, they can get online, do the research they need to. We won't talk about their social media, which that's parental controls. Awesome. But thank you so much for choosing Keizer.
Thank you.
Thank you. May 10th, got it. And I have Anna Munson. Now, I have you signed up under the public hearing. Are you here for the public hearing or for public comment?
I didn't know there was a difference.
Public comment it is. Come on down.
I've been to several town councils or city councils, and I'm new at this, so this is like the biggest one so far, so it's a little more formal, I think. My name is Anna Munson, and I'm here to introduce myself because I'm running for Marion County Clerk. I have a lot of concern and care for the Marion County community. I've lived here for 46 years, and I'm running because I want to honor my husband, who is a 100% disabled Vietnam vet. I've worked in the elections, Marion County elections office since 2016 as an election worker. As Marion County Clerk, I will try to make sure that our elections are secure, transparent, and accountable for all the voters in Marion County. Also, as studying that the clerk's office is a job, there are duties that are overseen. One of them that I find that I would really like to help is the businesses in Marion County. I feel like businesses have gone through a lot. There was COVID, there's all these other things. And I would like to help in streamlining the business part of the county clerk's office as far as what it relates to records or any other things. And so I think that I would really be a good fit for bringing new eyes to the Marion County Clerk's office. I'm asking for you all to vote for me, Anna Munson, for Marion County Clerk. And I have a website, which is annaforclerk.us. And I'm on social media at Anna for Clerk, and that's Anna with 2 N's. I'm Italian. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much. Any questions from City Council? Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Thank you
Really
for having me.
appreciate the attention. And for folks who were looking out in our parking lot, we were the first to get a drop-off ballot box, and we're getting a bigger one now. So, because Keizer shows up and votes. All right, thank you very much. Now, I also have on the public hearing sheet, Sandra Rossi. Are you here for public comment, or did you want to comment on the Judges Services Agreement public hearing?
I changed my mind. I'm good.
You're good either way?
Yep.
Okay, but I will probably call again just to make sure during the public hearing that we're all good. Okay. All right. And with that, anybody else for public comment before we go to our public hearing? All right. Then I would like to go to open a public hearing for resolution exemption of municipal judge services agreement from competitive bidding and awarding the agreement to A. Carl Myers. This goes to Mr. Lindsay.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. This is, we're having a public hearing because under our current public procurement local contracting laws, there is a process for exempting contracts from the actual normal solicitation process. And this in particular was, I think, a fitting use of this exemption process because of, for one, the council, we asked if you wanted to proceed this way, but we have a long-standing judge who is doing a satisfactory job, and he is not asking for any additional amounts. And when we informally reached out for folks to see what the interest was, the numerous folks said as long as he continues to do what he's doing and wants to do it, we don't want to actually bid for it anyway. So we're at a position where we're asking, not only because the person seems to be doing a satisfactory job, but because the public seems to think, or at least the legal public seems to think, that they don't want to step on his toes because they like what he's doing. So under our own code, we have to have a public hearing in order for you guys to find that you can have an exemption to the process of going through the other solicitation process.
All right. Any questions on the staff report? And for those who are watching, in an earlier meeting this year, we did do a review of council observations of Judge Myers' performance and had opportunity to visit with him. And all of those reports came back definitely more than satisfactory, in many cases exemplary. With that, I would open up to anyone here who would like to comment on this public hearing. It is now open for anyone present. And I have two people who signed up accidentally and they are not here. Okay. Does council need anything additional before I close the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, exemption of municipal judge services agreement from competitive bidding and awarding agreement to A. Carl Myers.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, exemption of municipal judge services agreement from competitive bidding and awarding agreement to A. Carl Myers. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. That is all we have this evening for public hearings. We will now go to administrative action. And item 8A, which is resolution authorizing a temporary suspension of ordinance prohibiting street vendors. And this goes to Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. This is a suspension of the ordinance prohibiting street vendors so that the Blue Moon Irish Day Parade can happen. This was traditionally held with Keizer Fest in August, and the Chamber has decided to separate those two events, and this will allow some of our high school marching bands to participate in the parade. And so it is going to be known as the Bloomin' Irish Day parade. This allows them to have street vendors, which are normally excluded from operation along River Road and in the city. And the staff recommends approval of both resolutions.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on either the resolution for temporary suspension of ordinance of prohibiting street vendors, and looks like that was also the report for the resolution authorizing temporary use and signs subject to conditions for 2024 Keizer Fest Bloomin' Iris Day Parade? No questions. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing a temporary suspension of the ordinance prohibiting street vendors. And I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing temporary use and signs subject to conditions for the 2024 Keizer Fest Bloomin' Iris Day Parade.
Second and second.
So are there any objections to taking these in block? No objections. The Keizer City Council, it's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing a temporary suspension of the ordinance prohibiting street vendors, and Resolution R2024, authorizing temporary use and signs subject to conditions for the 2024 Keizer Fest Blooming Iris Day Parade. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, both resolutions passed unanimously. With that, I've had a request for a 5-minute recess, so we will reconvene at 8:30. We are in recess. All right, I'd like to call the Keizer City Council back to order, and we will resume our agenda with item 8B, which is the Northwest Neighborhood Association Annual Report. And from the Northwest Neighborhood Association, we have Hirsch Sangster and the board. Go ahead and pull up extra chairs if you'd like. No, you're good.
We're just gonna say hello. Yeah. And introduce ourselves so that the
All right.
gentleman here can give you guys the update.
Okay, Hirsch, lead off.
Madam Mayor, Council President Starr, Keizer City Council, we are the Northwest Neighborhood Association. I'm Hirsch Sangster, I'm the current president.
Griffin Walker, board member.
Tammy Saldivar, secretary. Chris Majano, board member.
Jonathan Thompson, vice chair. I didn't know we were all going up there, so I was not paying attention.
You should have in your packet already a summary of our activities for the last year. So I'm not going to read it to you, but I'm going to hit some highlights. Both Griffin and I'll hit some highlights. We started out with just 3 board members when we started, but now we have a full board of 7 members. Our meetings are on the 3rd Wednesday of the month at 7 o'clock. We've had some great discussions on graffiti, on planning, on the swales, all sorts of issues. We've had the Keizer Police Department, the Keizer Fire District there. We've had planning, as I mentioned, and at the meeting, giving some good discussions. We are kind of a unique area of Keizer is we don't have a park in our neighborhood, but we do have Keizer Elementary, McNary High School, Samanka Place. We have a board member that she's not here tonight, that is an assistant manager for the Keizer Food Bank. And we also have the liquor store. And the Wet Eagle is in our neighborhood association.
And the Grange Rec.
And the brand new Rec Grange, which we've already talked with Tim about maybe having some of our board meetings in their public space there, which we may be doing in the future. We've done a lot of outreach, and Griffin will talk about some of the system-wide things that we've tried to do with what monies we have and the volunteers that we've been able to do. But one of the things that we are planning, and I think you've already gotten a flyer on it, that we want even more involvement is with Keizer Elementary and the parent-teacher committee there. We are going to have a Keizer resource event and a bike skills event, which will involve the Keizer Fire District. The Keizer Police are going to be actively involved. Samanka House may have a booth there, Liberty House, all sorts of groups are going to have booths for resources for our community. For the bike skills portion, the police cadets, I hope, will be helping. And once the kids go through the skills course, the Keizer Police will be taking them for a short bike ride on the new path there at Keizer Elementary. Another thing that I just finally got together this last night was Cycle Oregon is going to bring down bicycles for the kids to ride that don't have bikes. And we'll even have balance bikes, and they have some new adaptive bikes. So they'll be at that event. The vision is that this event will be moving around Keizer. So the May 4th events is not just for Keizer Elementary, it's for all the elementaries in Keizer. Now, our outreach, I'm going to turn that over to Griffin here.
Hi. So for our outreach, we launched and developed and launched a new website in July. It includes things like meeting minutes, board meeting minutes, also has a bunch of community resources. We list various local businesses in there. We also have local events listed in there. And we have some connections to the city website as well, directing people in the neighborhood to the graffiti tools, as well as some other aspects of the City of Keizer website. Since launching the site in late July, down to the end of March, we've had 303 local visitors and 747 views. So it's showing repeat visits. That's filtering out all bots and traffic that is not local, of which we have quite a bit, as most websites do. The site was also designed to be mobile friendly because that's where a lot of people are actually viewing websites now. Most of the site development was donated, so the only ongoing costs the neighborhood association right now have been for the domain name and the security certificate, which is only totaled $40 a year. The rest of the development and ongoing upkeep has been donated. Thank you. We also set up a catch-all email address at info@northwestkeizer.org. So the contact form on the website goes to that, and any incoming emails to that actually email out to all of the board members, so we're all aware of communication coming in and communicate out by that as well. We've actually gotten six inputs from that form since we launched it, so we're actually getting some community engagement, which is really cool. We also, this year, outside of the site, we've created and printed door hangers, flyers, and business cards for outreach. These all have unique QR codes on them that actually allow us to see what kind of return we're getting on these printed materials. So even though they all go to our main website's homepage, they all have unique URLs that we can see on the back end, so we can actually track and see what kind of hits we're getting for those, what kind of return we're getting on those. On the social media front, we've created a Facebook page this year, and we've been regularly posting on Facebook and Nextdoor. And we communicate with the city recorder to make sure that all of our meeting announcements and general board meeting minutes and whatnot get on the city's website.
We are wanting to do National Night Out, and we'll have a work group to work on that. Lieutenant Hine has already come to our meeting to talk about National Night Out, so we want to participate in that. And we'll, as like last year, we'll have a booth that we'll share with the other neighborhood associations at Keizer Fest for more outreach.
We're also planning on, within the next year, having shirts made so that we can stand out as neighborhood members when we go to events. We're also going to be looking into the possibility of developing Spanish content for our site and our meeting minutes to provide that to the community as well.
I'm not allowed to pick the color.
I can imagine why.
You don't want to go into this.
I think it's green.
Possible accents of yellow.
Yes. We're open for questions on the Northwest Keizer Neighborhood Association and what we've done last year and what we are planning for the future.
All right. Thank you very much. I am looking at your website right now. It is beautiful and very easy to navigate. Congratulations. Very, very nicely done. Very professional. Questions for the neighbors, Northwest Keizer Neighborhood Association? Mr. Sangster, do you have something?
I just want to, with the website and the analytics that we are able to figure out, we even know when people see our little lawn signs, which is kind of nice to know that, are those lawn signs effective? We're finding out, yes, they are.
Yeah. I remember when we started doing that with West Keizer, those little yard signs, you go high tech and low tech, you need them both. And they both work. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Council President Starr, I believe we have a motion to put on the table.
I move that Keizer City Council accept the report of the Northwest Keizer Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the Northwest Keizer Neighborhood Association for an additional year.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council accept the report of the Northwest Keizer Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the Northwest Keizer Neighborhood Association for an additional year. Discussion. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to say, as a liaison for this particular neighborhood association, I've been totally impressed with their work effort, their ability to go out and get things done, and to always be very, very communicative with me and with the other members that they need to, and just kudos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Have a great coming year. Let's go then to item 8C, which is Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association Annual Report. Patty Tischer.
Good evening. Hello. Patty Tischer with the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association. And I had already submitted my report for your review, but there was a couple of additions that I wanted to add. One of the things that I wanted to point out on my report, when I talked about the monthly meetings that we had in 23, 24, I didn't want you to think that I had left out the first part of 23, January, March, and April. But I just wanted to point out that those were included in last year's report. Because of the time that we make the report, then it kind of cuts up the year. And then the other item, just as a reminder that we have changed our meeting time to 6:30. A lot of the printed material just needs to be updated, that it said 7 o'clock, and I think we've finally gotten it changed on the website. But some of the, when people are making announcements in the Keizer Times, they post our meeting time, and it keeps on coming up at 7. But we changed the meeting time to 6:30 last year. So that's just a change. And then also a couple of community outreach items that I left out is that I've been, well, they only have had 2 meetings, but I've been attending and trying to engage with the Gubser Parent and Teacher Committee. So that's an additional outreach that we're trying to reconnect with. And then also, as Hirsch mentioned too, we participated in Keizer Fest with all of the neighborhood associations. And then I was very pleased when I opened up my Keizer Times over this weekend that there was a nice editorial piece written about all the neighborhood associations. So that was, if you haven't read your Keizer Times from last Friday, that was very nice. I liked that, to encourage everybody to get involved in the associations. And then something new that Jane just started is, for more involvement, is she just started a walking group. And so she just contacted me over the weekend, and I've got a great idea. What do you think? And I said, let's do it. And so actually I passed them as I was coming to the meeting tonight. There was a group of them, and it looked like maybe I was kind of like, as I was driving, looked like there was about 6 of them. So I don't know if it was just her family or if it was other people, but kind of a fun thing to get started and get doing. So does anyone have any questions for me on the report?
Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. You had something exciting happen at your meeting on Tuesday. Do you want to I'd just like the community to hear that you got new board members.
Okay, well, I put it in my report.
I know, but I just want you to say it, share the news.
Yes, for the first time in many months, we have 3 board members now. So we are starting slow, making some baby steps. So that's, yes, very exciting. Thank you for making me say that publicly.
Well, big thank you to, I'm looking at your report here, and council did receive this in a separate email today. Thank you, Ms. Bissett, for making sure we got this. And a huge shout out to the new Vice President, Tasha Rash, and Secretary Laura Daniel. So there we go. That is very, very good news. Congratulations. I know that's been a new opportunity.
Yes.
We'll go in the positive.
Yeah, very good. And we're excited for our National Night Out. We always have a great crowd for that. And we will be doing our 3rd annual Children's Parade. So we will connect with the police department. Last year, they were, it was really fun for the kids. The bicycle police officers led the charge on that for them. And they went from Gubser parking lot down to the park. And so the kids enjoyed that. So we'll be doing that again.
Wonderful. And I wish all the best with this new walking group. It was a lovely evening to be out taking a stroll. And of course, we want to encourage all the activity, especially as we get started this coming year with the Bob Newton Park improvements that are on tap for the next fiscal year. So that'll be exciting, and hopefully engage the neighborhood association as that project develops as well.
That'd be great.
All right, anything further for the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association? Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council accept the report of the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association for an additional year.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council accept the report of the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association for an additional year. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Looking forward to a great year. And item 8D, which is the Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association motion for recognition. At our last meeting, we got the report and we did not take care of business. So is this Ms. Bissett? No, who has this one? Mr. Brown.
Just announce that it was actually on the March 18th meeting.
Okay.
Yep, Mr. Gerloff came and presented the annual report, and so motion just needs to be made to extend the recognition.
Okay. All right, we just need to close the loop. Anything, any questions that people had on Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association? All right, Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council accept the report of the Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association for an additional year.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council accept the report of the Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association and extend recognition to the Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association for an additional year. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Great work on everybody's part. The neighborhood associations, as we saw in our last work session, with all of them together, continuing to evolve and grow and do work for our community. Let's go now to item 8E, which is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into critical records support services agreement with the city of Salem. And I believe this goes to Lieutenant Wenning.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The purpose of this agreement is for the city of Salem to continue to provide the Keizer Police Department critical after-hours support services through our records division. Our regular business hours are 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. So we don't have anybody to staff that in the evenings and on the weekends and on the holidays. And the city of Salem has been providing those services to us since 1984. And so what this agreement would allow us to do is to continue that time-sensitive records
entry and removal. And some of the things that they do for us, I'm not gonna, it's in your packet, I'm not gonna name them all, but entering missing people, entering property, vehicles, things of that nature, and then removing them, such as when your car's stolen, it gets recovered from a jurisdiction. It's nice to have that removed within a short period of time so that when you're taking it home from the recovery site, you're not being pulled over again because it's still listed as a stolen vehicle. So that's one of the things that this agreement would allow us to do and continue. Like I said, we have not paid for that service since its inception, so we've been very fortunate. There are 29 agencies in the consortium. 8 of those do not have full-time record services, and we're one of those. So we'll be splitting that cost that Salem has incurred by hiring another technician for the sum of about $118,000 a year. When we did the math, thanks to Mr. Wood, he figured out that when we shared that cost, we're looking at about just under $57,000. But when we add up all the hours that we're talking about, after hours, holidays, weekends, they would be providing a service of about 6,500 hours at a cost to us for about $8.76 per hour, as opposed to hiring somebody. Actually, we would hire multiple people to cover that to the sum of, over $300,000. So we are asking that we adopt this resolution so that we can continue that service. It's seamless. It's been there for 30, 40 years. We've been fortunate not to have been charged for that service, but in today's climate where people are doing more with less, Salem can no longer handle the burden of that cost, and is passing it on to the 8 agencies in our consortium that use that service. The other option is to hire a minimum of at least 2 staff members to add to our support services division in order to work the hours after normal business hours and the holidays and the weekends. And staff recommends that the council adopt the attached resolution authorizing the city manager to sign that agreement.
All right, thank you very much. Are there questions on Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So when would this agreement take effect?
The agreement would take effect July 1 of this year.
Okay, so I think this is more of an education for me to understand the process, but why are we passing a resolution before, to do this and enter into this agreement before the budget committee?
Council President Starr, I don't have the answer to that.
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Brown?
Council President Starr and council members, the IGAs are approved by the city council. So, conceivably, you could wait until after the budget committee to approve the IGA. We're at a kind of an essential point, though, and there won't be a difference in doing it today versus June 1st or the first week of June, but we don't really have any options after July 1.
Well, can I follow up? Thank you, Madam Mayor. I recognize that. I guess it just is, it doesn't, in my mind, and granted it's 9 o'clock, it doesn't make sense to me why we would be passing a resolution and essentially telling our budget committee what they need to put into the budget before we've even had the budget committee hearings. That just isn't, again, maybe it's 9 o'clock, but that just seems backwards to me.
We approve a lot of items, the contracts. I
could be being illogical, but I'm just trying to understand why we would have this agreement before our budget committees even had a chance to talk about it and look at the entire budget as a whole. Because this won't be paid out of this budget, right?
It will, you're correct. It'll be paid out of the fiscal year.
So we're encumbering our budget committee on something that they haven't had a chance to discuss.
Yes, and I would say the function of a budget committee is not to set priorities. It's the city council's prerogative to set priorities for the community. The
So
budget
then why do we
committee
have them?
is to fund, I'm sorry if I could continue.
Yes.
The budget committee's responsibility is to fund the city council's priorities and strategies. It's a public check and balance.
Fundamental disagreement on the process then.
I appreciate you sharing your point of view. I do also find that we are about to approve another contract, or at least have that conversation about another one, and we do obligate crossing fiscal years. So if the budget committee and the city council chooses to not move forward with this, not having an option in place by July 1 puts us at risk. But I would also point out that we have contracts that span multiple contract years, multiple fiscal years, and this would be one such thing. Now, if we're saying that we want, that it would be appropriate to hold all of our contracts that are new for the next fiscal year until after the budget committee meets, I feel that this is an operational issue and this recommendation from the staff, and this would be the city council authorizing that to move forward like our other contracts. So I guess we're gonna have a different procedural perception.
One way to put it.
Okay. With that, any other questions on the contract? Do you have, okay. Council President Starr?
I'm sorry, I'm not going to make the motion because I don't agree that we should be voting on something and encumbering the budget committee and committing to something in an IGA that isn't going to take place until next budget year. I'm not saying I don't think we need this service. I'm just saying I think we need to follow the process of setting the budget and having them approve it and send it forward before we're encumbering agreements with another jurisdiction. I agree and understand that we need it. For me, it's a process, and I am very clear oftentimes that it is about the process, and the process matters to me, so.
Thank you. Councilor Husband?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to move that the City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing the city manager to enter into critical record support services agreement with the City of Salem.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, authorizing the city manager to enter into critical record support services agreement within the City of Salem. Discussion. Councilor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm just going to reiterate what Council President Starr said, that it's about the process, and I do understand we need it, but I do want to make sure we're including the budget committee. So that's how I felt.
Okay. And,
Madam Mayor?
Yeah,
Can I-
Mr. Lindsay?
I would just point out, I'm looking at page 103 of the packet, if you guys wanted to look at that. The way in which this could terminate is if we were to fail to receive appropriations. And so effectively, the budget committee still would have the power to not appropriate it, and then it would kill the encumbering of funds, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. So did you
So
find that?
it allows them to maintain the power of appropriating that or not.
Okay, so that's already baked in. Okay. Councilor Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It seems to me that this is, largely a matter of timing. If this had come before us in January, this wouldn't be a question to hold and wait till the budget, because it's a contract. And so I feel like, in passing this, we would be setting the priority, and then, the budget committee would have the choice of whether or not to fund it, as Mr. Lindsay points out. But for me, just because this happens to hit right before budget season does not make it any less of a contract, and necessitates attention.
Thank you very much. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no.
No.
Motion passes 5-2. The noes are star and cross. All right, let's go on then to item 8F, which is resolution authorizing work after retirement policy. I believe this goes to Ms. DePina.
Madam Mayor and City Council, this subject has been before you multiple times over the last many months. As a reminder, House Bill 2296 extends the retire-rehire provisions of the prior Senate Bill 1049 by 10 years or until December 31, 2034. The city's current work after retirement policy ends December 31st, 2024, regardless of the extension by the state. Based on the city's experience with the existing policy, city staff recommends that the policy be extended for 5 additional years until December 31, 2029, with a maximum 2-year rehire period per retiree and a limit on accrual caps and paid time off benefits to limit the large lump sum payments at the end of the rehire period. The City Council work session took place on this topic on January 8th. It was discussed again in Personnel Policy Committee on January 29th. And on February 1st and February 21st, City Manager Adam Brown invited Keizer employees to respond to a staff feedback survey. And the topic was brought before the City Council on March 18th with a request to direct staff to bring back a resolution, which the council chose to do. So at this point, we are bringing that resolution for your approval and ask if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on the staff report or the resolution? Okay, well, Councilor Cross, then Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So does this need to be done like this month, or is there a certain date it needs to be done and approved in regards to this new agreement?
The current city policy on this topic ends December 2024. The only push on trying to get this approved sooner rather than later is we have employees who've been waiting for months to find out if we're going to extend this policy or not, so they can make their own retirement decisions.
Okay, thank you.
Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to clarify and make sure I understood the change. So it says that it will end no later than 2 years from the reemployment start date or no later than December 31st, 2029, whichever occurs first. So if we had somebody that decided to retire and wanted to do the rehire, but they are retiring on like their first day back, if they did the rehire, would be January 2nd, 2029. Their limited duration or their work after retirement would only be for 1 year.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you. I think I have one more, but I want to think about it.
Any other questions? Councilor Cross?
Follow up on my previous question. Thank you, Madam Mayor. So if they retired, you said that you have some employees that are waiting around. Wouldn't they just retire under the current policy?
They could retire under the current policy. They haven't chosen to do so. And I think primarily because people become eligible at different times. And so for those who are waiting, they don't have a significant amount of time still left given the policy ends in 2024. Not everybody's eligible at the same time. So it's based on their hire date and their years of service in PERS.
And how many employees do we have that are waiting on us if we didn't do it by December 31st?
Well, there are, I believe, 17 that can retire during the 5-year period. Those that are in limbo right now, whether or not they're going to choose to retire, there, I think, are about a half dozen.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything further? Okay. All right. Council President Starr.
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, adopting the work after retirement policy for effective 2024.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, adopting work after retirement policy 2024. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no.
No.
Motion passes 6-1 with 1 no, that's Counselor Kohler. All right, that takes us then to item 8G, resolution authorizing the city manager, drum roll please, to enter into order form and associated agreements for Human Resources Information System, HRIS, and payroll software with People Guru, Inc. Who's got this one? Mr. Brown, Mr. Wood? Mr. Brown. Third time was the charm. There's much rejoicing happening right now.
As you alluded to, this has taken a long time to get to where we are. This is, I think, the third search that we've done through request for proposals process. And in this case, 3 times was the charm. And we have a company, People Guru, who the evaluation committee feels strongly can fill the role that we need them to do to make a more efficient human resources system and connected to our payroll software. And we're asking the city council to approve this budget. The first year implementation cost is $7,890. The first year usage cost is $22,279.50 and 50 cents. We want to use the ARPA funds for the first year of service, and then we would move that into the 2026 fiscal year budget under the split amongst the appropriate funds that use HR and finance. The implementation timeline is April 16th through October 1st, and it will be a lengthy time, but the staff is very excited to present this to you, and it is one of your goals. So we recommend approval.
Thank you very much. Questions? Councilor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Why are we using ARPA funds? Will you remind me?
I believe actually that was budgeted before I even came here to use ARPA funds. So it's a longstanding plan document, but my understanding is that we would use the ARPA funds to get these things underway and then smooth them into our budget in the years afterwards.
Well, I guess that would be probably good to know since that was before me too. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Duran?
Would this be better to hold off on and wait for the new HR director to look at what they wanted to use? I mean, we could be implementing something that somebody else may go, oh, I don't want to use that. Just a question.
Mr. Pina?
Thank you. My strong recommendation is that we do not wait. If I were someone applying for this position down the road, I would be pretty upset if we had an opportunity to have an HRIS started and moving forward, and we held off for that reason, just because of the workload issues in the department. I see it as the only way that the department can continue to function, at least for a little while, with only 2 employees. So I think it would actually be an advantage in the recruitment process to say that we are underway rather than to say we're the only city of any size without an HRIS in the state of Oregon.
Councilor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. What is the timeline for you to get the replacement, your replacement, or you already have? Are you already looking right now?
I have not yet posted the recruitment. That will be happening shortly. It'll take at least probably a month and a half of a recruitment and then the interview process. We will hire as soon as possible. But it will be at least, I would say, 2.5 to 3 months out before we would have a new HR director on board. And then we have a transition period. Our agreement with the budgeting of ARPA funds for transition of department directors was approximately 2 months to hand off. And whether or not it takes that long will be Adam's decision.
Quick follow-up.
Follow-up?
I'm just going to echo what Counselor Duran said. I mean, if I was coming into a job, they might have a favorite car to drive or a program that they're working on. So I'm going to echo what Counselor Duran said.
So before I go to Counselor Duran, is it, when you're doing procurement processes, if we were going to say, you know, they have their quote favorite car to drive, the thing is that we can't do that under public procurement. I'm going to look at Mr. Lindsay if saying, you know, I really prefer to use this other one. We still have to go through a process because of the size of the contract. Is that correct?
You do, and we went through an RFP process. You, as the public contracting board, have the ultimate say in whether or not you want to cancel this RFP, but we've already sent out an intent to award. And so, I mean, it's more steps, but you haven't signed up yet. This is your decision.
So if we were going to cancel and go back out again, it would still have to go out for a full RFP process once again, repeat all the same work that just got done. And while the incoming director would have some say, there would also be say from the rest of the staff who are still here, and the selection committee would again weigh in on the same information. Is that correct?
That's true, and I believe, and not to throw Mr. Wood under the bus, but isn't this also a finance piece too?
So it's two departments that are being affected because it's payroll as well. I'm going to go to Councilor Duran, then I'll go to Councilor Husman.
Yeah, it just seems like there's only, what, 2 or 3 months that we're talking about here. If we held off, they could choose to use what we're doing, or we could go back out for an RFP, because I'm just thinking I'd hate to come into a new position and go and not like something that's just started. I mean, you guys will barely be into implementing by the time you're looking for somebody. So just a question. I just was concerned about the timing on this.
I anticipate in reality, it would be many more months before a brand new HR director would have the opportunity to actually be part of a new process for an HRIS, because we would have to, as City Attorney Lindsay said, go first have a meeting to discuss what do we want now, if it's something different, and then develop the RFP and submit it back out to the public and go through the process of evaluation and approval. So we're talking, I think at a minimum, probably 6 months down the road from the time that the new HR director comes on board and gets their feet wet enough to start this process. Just as a matter of reality, is the way I think that it would work.
And the staff time. Yep. Councilor Husman?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I'd like to explore those implications further with respect to payroll. So under this scenario, we would get a new HR director to come in and theoretically pick their preferred software through the RFP process, which would then take at least 6 months plus another 6 months to a year to potentially implement to get all up to speed, especially with respect to payroll. Meanwhile, we as the city would have no functional payroll system to be able to pay out, and so then there'd be an incremental, highly manual payout system to satisfy employee checks on a regular basis, which would require multiple employees' staff time to execute and implement, and this would be for, again, at least a year of time. These people know where I live. They know my address, and if city employees do not get their checks, I expect we would hear about it. So the fact that we have a payroll system that appears to be well agreed upon satisfies my conditions for what the city needs from an administrative perspective.
Thank you. Councilor Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I've been on the Personnel Policy Committee for many years now, and on that committee, I've really gained a full appreciation for what our HR department does. Quite frankly, it's astounding, the workload that they have and what they've been able to accomplish, and this is a really important tool to help support them and to give the technical really, this is in lieu of hiring in many cases, and it's far less expensive. And in terms of the timing, this is something that we've been working on for 3 years at least, I think.
Yeah.
And you know, we thought we had one connected to another system of ours that didn't work, and so just to kick this down the road a little bit seems highly irresponsible. We want to be able to provide our staff with the tools that they need to do their job. And, you know, as Ms. DePina says too, we're only going to be able to attract the best people if we have our act together. And without having this HRIS system in place, we don't have our act together.
Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ms. DePina, how many other, or I would assume that People Guru have experience or history in the public sector?
Yes. We included public sector experience as one of the primary items in the RFP and one of the items for scoring, and they do have public sector experience.
From other cities in Oregon?
Not Oregon experience, other states.
What was the challenge with getting a system, and this is just, again, more just for me understanding the challenges in the process, or in this trying to find a system that would work. What was the challenge in getting a system that maybe other cities of comparable size to Keizer, what they use? What was the challenge in getting it to work here? Because that's just interesting to me that we can't make one that's used in Oregon work here.
There is, from my research and talking to my peers, a wide variety of vendors that are used, and most every person I talked to was not satisfied with the vendors that they use for various reasons. The other thing is when it comes to providing services to municipalities, you typically, in my experience, have very large entities that do nothing but that. And that comes with both benefits and issues because they are so huge and you're just one of many customers for them. And very small entities that are just starting out and trying to attract customers and don't have any municipal experience. There didn't seem to be many in the middle that have municipal experience, but you're not going to get lost in the crowd or just be another number in their entity. And this particular provider impressed us all because of their excitement about working with us as their first municipality in Oregon. And we got the impression that they would be giving us their undivided attention so they could show that they were successful in the state. So there is an incentive for them as well as for us for this to work.
Follow up?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So thank you for that. I know you've said that before at a meeting, but that was, again, it's 9:20 and that was a few months ago. So thank you for refreshing my memory. The second thing, this is already budgeted, and the budget that we have, there's a dollar amount that we already adopted in the budget, in our current budget, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So this is just the contract for something we already budgeted. And then, so the first year is 22,000, I think I read. So the implementation fee is 77, 78, something like that.
78, 90.
And then the first year user fees are 22,000. Is that all due upfront, or just the implementation fee? And then the user fee is, how did we budget? Remind me how we budgeted on that. Sorry.
I will let our finance director clarify if I get it wrong, but we budgeted a lump sum with no idea what vendor we would end up with and what the total cost would be. This particular vendor will request the $78.90 upfront. The $22,279 is a total year, but we would be paying for it as we go because it is based on number of employees each month.
Okay.
So we don't pay a lump sum upfront, we pay it as we use it.
And that's the estimated cost per year is the
Correct.
22,000. Okay, great. Thank you.
Further questions, Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just hope that the decision to move forward with this doesn't keep a really good HR director from applying, knowing that this is a system that they are not familiar with or don't really want to work with.
Mr. Brown?
I think the next best thing to having, obviously I wish I could pick the financial software before I came here because I used it the last place and didn't like it there, don't like it here. But the next best thing to being able to select it is being here for the implementation. And I think that's a part where it's possible that we could have the new director on board for implementation, which is helping with all the processes and inputting and stuff. And I see that there's going to be some overlap given the timeline of both.
Thank you. Anything further? Okay. Council President Starr?
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, authorizing the city manager to enter into an order form and associated agreements for Human Resources Information System, HRIS, and payroll software with People Guru, Inc.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, authorizing the city manager to enter into order form and associated agreements for Human Resources Information System, HRIS, and payroll software with People Guru, Inc. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed signify by saying no.
No.
Motion passes 5-2. The noes are Cross and Duran. All right. HRIS, check that box. Council President Starr, would you please read the items on tonight's consent calendar?
Well, buy a lottery ticket because you caught me before I put a piece of candy in my mouth. Our consent calendar for the night reads, item A, resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with SAK Construction LLC for storm drain rehabilitation. Item B, approval of the April 1st, 2024 City Council regular session minutes. And item C, approval of the April 8th, 2024 City Council work session minutes.
Thank you. Are there any polls? Seeing none, Council President Starr?
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt the consent calendar as read.
Second?
The consent calendar has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. The consent calendar is adopted. Let's go to item 10 with other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new oral matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. Mr. Brown, does the staff have any additional items this evening?
Madam Mayor, we do not have any additional items.
Thank you. Council? For new other business? Councilor Reed.
What about the youth liaison for the parks? Were we gonna try and do that
No,
for the volunteer?
I think there were some questions.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't have that one ready to go yet for the youth liaison for the parks? Okay.
Oh, we were gonna walk that on.
Yeah.
Ah, there we go.
I just needed another piece of candy.
All right. So who's going to take the lead on this?
Go ahead, you're the
I will.
liaison.
So we had a wonderful young man. He is a senior at McNary. He wants to serve on the Parks Board, happens to be Ethan Eggert. That you saw his presentation this evening, his video. As expected, there were issues in understanding the process by the VCC committee. And some people had questions about whether he could serve over the summer while he's here, since he's technically graduated in June from McNary High School. would like to call, kind of make a point of order that there is legislation that was passed that says a school's relationship with a student who has graduated is at least 90 days. So that would take them through the school. He felt like he could adequately serve and attend the meetings and participate through the summer until at least the end of August. And he doesn't attend school and leave for school until September. But he felt confident he could commit to the end of August. So the VCC voted to approve him to move forward, assuming that he could serve through the summer and that his term wouldn't end in June.
And
Councilor Reed.
thank you, Madam Mayor. And the reason we wanted to walk this on is so that we can have him in place for the next meeting.
Yep.
So we have a Parks Board member here who has a question with council's approval. I'd like to bring her up to ask the question because I'm not picking it up from, but our ESP is not working.
Okay, it's on. Lisa Sajeka, Vice Chair of the Parks Board. I was at the Volunteer Coordinating Committee and Ethan wanted to be on Traffic Safety Bike Ped. Liam was the Boy Scout and he was going to be on Parks. And, but he was gonna start next year because Parks doesn't even have a meeting next month.
Then I got it wrong. I thought
But Traffic Safety Bikeway has a meeting in May.
Okay.
And I believe they do. And so Mr. Eggert wants to be liaison to Traffic Safety Bike Ped?
Yes.
You rang.
Sorry.
Sorry, yeah, that was my mistake. Sorry.
Okay, so the request is to appoint Mr. Eggert to be youth liaison to Traffic Safety Bike Ped from now through the end of August. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So with that, I believe we need a motion to suspend the rules to take up the matter. Is that correct, Mr. Lindsay?
Yes.
So I would entertain a motion to suspend the rule, take up the matter of appointing Mr. Eggert as the youth liaison to the Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee.
So moved.
Second?
It's a motion made and seconded to suspend the rules to take up the matter. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Motion passes unanimously. Council President Starr, motion to appoint.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. I move to appoint Ethan Eggert as the youth liaison to the Traffic Safety Bike Pedestrian Committee, effective immediately and serving through a minimum of the end of August.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to appoint Ethan Eggert as the youth liaison to the Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee as the youth liaison from effective immediately through the end of August of 2024. Any further discussion?
As council liaison for the TSBP, stoked to have him aboard.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously. Thank you for that and very much appreciate our youth stepping forward to find ways to serve in as much as they can. So great, great addition. We'll go then to staff updates and we'll start with Ms. Tapina.
I want to thank the entire council for both positive votes tonight. I would like to say that while there was concern about the new HR director, I can now rest assured that my HR generalist won't quit tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
Madam Mayor and Council, I just, great business to add another youth liaison. I think we have a fantastic program that a lot of other cities are envious of, to have youth engaged in our committee meetings. So well done.
Thank you. Mr. Wood.
Nothing for me, thank you.
The question, people inquiring minds want to know, when will the budget post?
Sometime around May 4th.
May the 4th be with us. All right. Thank you very much. Sorry, I had to. Ms. Bissett.
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
All right, thank you.
It's amazing for a Trekkie.
Hey, I'm multicultural. Lieutenant Wenning.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a quick update on our hiring process. We are in the process of hiring officers. We, as last count today, we had one lateral officer, I believe, from Alabama or Louisiana. So back east, we're going to be doing a not in-person interview with him. And then also we have about 16 other applicants that will be green, if you will. They'll have to go through the academy and start the process afresh because they're not laterals, but that's the update on our hiring at this point.
That's fantastic news. And it really speaks highly of the Keizer Police Department as an employer of choice. Well done, thank you. Mr. Lawyer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As referenced earlier tonight, just want to mention that the new, much larger ballot box is in place and ready for use for the next election.
Fantastic. Thank you, you and the staff, and working with Marion County Elections to get that done for us. Appreciate it. Mr. Witham.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
All right, Mr. Lindsay.
It's tax day. I have nothing else.
All right, thank you. If you haven't got your taxes done, you have till midnight.
That's right.
To hit go. All right, thank you very much. We'll go then to council reports. Time is provided for city council members to briefly share items related to our city. And we'll start with Councilor Cross.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Lots of events. It's kind of that time of the year. Last few weeks, I attended the Salem Chamber Monthly Forum, Salem Chamber Public Policy, State of the County at the Convention Center, Keizer Rotary Dinner, Keizer Chamber Board Meeting, Bold Ministry Spring Fundraiser, Latino Business Alliance, Pan Dulce, UGM Renew Committee. I'm on that committee, so May 8th, that's a great luncheon at the Convention Center. And Salem Chamber First Citizen. Also, Tammy, I'm looking at you, or telling all the neighborhood associations, Arena Football League is coming to the Oregon State Fairgrounds, and this Saturday is a preseason game, and all those tickets are free. So,
all right.
So kiddos, let them know.
Thank you very much. Lots happening in Keizer and Salem. Councilor Duran.
I'll make it easy. I did most of the stuff she did. And the neighborhood candidate meet and greet on Thursday night, where we got to tell a few people that, you know, that we're running again for election. Some of us here, up here did. So that was all I had.
Good, thank you. And for the record, nobody's a candidate yet because we can't start that process. So we're, I guess, pre-candidates? Something like that. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Community Diversity Engagement Committee meeting on April 4th was also my anniversary, so I left early. But we had the Rotary event on April 6th, Keizer Rotary here. April 9th, a Marion County Public Safety Coordinating Committee meeting with just a lot of the community partners related to public safety. Also that night, I had the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association meeting where I saw Ms. Tischer get very excited at her new board members. She's been waiting a long time for that, so I want to thank those Gubser neighbors for stepping into those positions. April 11th was the VCC meeting, which I did have to leave early to make it to the West Keizer neighborhood hosted joint neighborhood association meeting as well. So there we go.
Thank you very much. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just very briefly, the Southeast Keizer Neighborhood Association, there were 7 in attendance. Principal Stacy Lund from Weddle was there. We talked about the Beaver Dam. We talked about a paved path around their playground so that it could be ADA compliant. May 16th is their career day. Radar signs were up, but are now gone. Are they back up again? The radar speed sign?
They are not. One was sent back to the factory for diagnosis and repair. Once they have that one fixed, we will determine if we have to send the other one back as well, or if we can do a flash with a jump drive. So,
Wow.
yeah, technology.
Yeah. Hopefully we get that back. They said Ben Miller Park has been full after school, especially on sunny days, and they're missing a picnic table. Hopefully it comes back again. And there was a city councilor that contacted Cigna about suggesting a bulletin board at the park, and the association unanimously rejected the idea, saying it would be vandalized. Keizer United had an interesting meeting. The 420 is the drug take-back program sponsored by Marion County and Keizer Fire Department from 10 to 2 at Day Springs. And then we had a presentation by Liberty House. Of course, the work sessions, State of the County, Parks Board meeting. Northeast Keizer Neighborhood Association asked about planting different plants at the park, which Robert did a good job with. The Latino Business Alliance with Councilor Cross and City Manager Brown was interesting to listen to the City of Salem, see how they want to spend $300 million. And the Clay Creek Watershed Council, we need some volunteers are needed to learn how to do the tree inventory that they're trying to do. The training will be on May 4th from 9 to noon at City Hall. Questions, please contact Jenny Ammon, ammonj@keizer.org, or come to the City Council website where you'll find the QR code and everything else that's there. And Soggy Day in the Park, May 25th from 11 to 3 at Keizer Rapids Park.
All right, thank you very much.
One last thing,
Yes.
happy birthday to Eric Moyer. He is 80 today.
Doesn't look a day over 70. All right, thank you very much. Councilor Hussman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to shout out Whitaker Middle School student Soleil Bartolome. Soleil is an excellent wrestler, and a couple weeks ago she took place at the Reno Worlds National Tournament in Reno, Nevada. She placed second in the entire country in the 15 and under girls 106-pound division, which is an absolutely incredible result. Regardless of who you are, to be able to place at a national tournament in wrestling is phenomenal. Girls wrestling is one of probably the fastest growing sport in the city of Keizer in terms of middle school and definitely high school participation. And the high school claims Ali Martinez, senior 190-pound champion, two times now.
Yeah.
Picked up that second W last month, I think, at Memorial Coliseum. So just fantastic work all around. And I understand that Soleil is a joy to have in the halls of Whitaker as well. So congratulations, Soleil. Go get them.
All right, fantastic. Congratulations indeed. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So on April 10th, by virtue of the fact that McNary is an avid national demonstration school, we had about 80 visitors from Washington, Oregon, and California come visit McNary and see how wonderful we are. So that distinction was really an honor, and we got a lot of really excellent feedback. They got to see our professional learning community meetings. They got to see our avid elective classes. They got to see in a lot of different classes, and the kids took point on a lot of the tours and the leads. And so anyway, really proud of our high school. So that's fantastic. For the Keizer Heritage Foundation, we have our youth internship program, our brand new youth internship program. The applications for that were due today. So we're really excited about that, to give kids some professional opportunities with nonprofits and with all 4 of the tenants within Keizer Heritage Foundation. So looking forward to processing those applications and getting some interviews started. I covered for the first hour of a rather, well, it was a marathon meeting for the Mid-Willamette Valley Homeless Alliance for Mayor Clark. And
That was a marathon.
very full agenda and a lot of interesting discussions. And I always really appreciate seeing the inner workings of that organization, because they do a lot of fantastic work. Silent Sky is going on in Keizer Keizer Homegrown Theater. It opened last weekend and will go for the next 2 weekends, Friday, Saturday at 7, and then a Sunday matinee at 2. So it is about the first, or one of the early women astronomers, and has all kinds of interesting things to say about that. We have a special Arts Commission meeting this Tuesday, and we'll be talking about wraps for some of the utilities, art wraps, and we've in the packet we've got some really amazing submissions, and a big thank you to Mr. Brown for digging deep in that, getting lots of quotes, and that has been quite the process, and so thank you very much for your efforts with that. I think they will be good no matter what we decide. And then we have our second and final track meet, but I'm gonna let Youth Counselor Woodard talk about that, so that's all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Well, let's go to our youth counselor, Woodard, and what you got?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So to start, we had prom on Saturday, and that was a really fun experience. It was at Zenith Vineyards, over kind of near West Salem. It's a little north of there. But that was a lot of fun, and kind of being involved in the foods program this year, I got there and I saw the food and I was like, wait, I made this food myself. And it was actually pretty good, so I'm glad I didn't ruin the night for anyone necessarily. But additionally, speaking of growing sports, we have this year is kind of new. We have boys volleyball and girls flag football. And so I know a ton of people involved in these, and volleyball is actually, it's probably one of my favorite sports to play, and having the opportunity to even play it at Keizer Rapids in the sand courts is really great. And I'm excited for the new people that will be able to, actually have a team to join and, kind of have a school sponsored for that. And then I know a ton of people doing girls flag football too, and they're really enjoying it and, using their opportunities. And in terms of track, it's, I know it's a lot of bittersweet for some of my friends, being invited to their senior nights and stuff for track, is a really, it's, sports are a big part of a lot of people's, childhoods, and a big part of even, growing up, watching sports, but being involved in something bigger than yourself is, I think, something that McNary gives a really great opportunity to for sports. I mean, our track team was the biggest in 20 years or something this year, which is really great to hear. And then in terms of theater, we have our spring play on April 19th, 7 to 9 p.m. And then on the 21st, we have an SYS concert. And I think on the 1st of May, we have the Festival of Music. And so I don't exactly have all the details on that, but that's happening. And
All right, plenty of opportunities to enjoy arts. Oh, but wait, there's more.
oh yes, I forgot about this. So a lot of my friends and classmates, so recently there was the culinary team at McNary, they qualified for nationals, which is in Maryland, which is really exciting. I have a lot of people that I know going in it, and as someone that just went to a state competition for mock trial, that's a super fun experience to do, and I'm excited they get to go to nationals for it. And this is unrelated, but I just saw that the mock trial team in Grant in Oregon was the one that won the national competition, which is kind of exciting to have an Oregon team do that. But yeah, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Wow, that is fantastic. Congratulations. And this is Grant High School won nationals.
Yes, yeah.
From Oregon. Well done. Thank you so much. This is a lot of great news. Just a couple things to add as we wrap up tonight. You've heard a lot about a lot of the events going on around our community. Just to add, I'm a member of 2 of the policy committees for the League of Oregon Cities. We're working on the transportation policy to take to the 2025 legislative session. This is important for Keizer as we have projects that we need funded and affects our local economy. Also, I'm the chair of the Community and Economic Development Policy Committee, and we've been working on issues such as transient lodging tax and some other policies around workforce housing, again, that are very important for our city and our region. I was privileged to be at the Hop Lee historical presentation at the Keizer Cultural Center. That was absolutely wonderful. If you get a chance to go on to the Cultural Center website, there's a link to the video that Russ Lowe has put together about his grandfather and the history of Hop Lee and his family here in the Salem area. He had land here in Keizer before it was actually the city of Keizer. and talks about their family experience and how Salem was so welcoming to him, his family, and so many of fellow Chinese community members in that time period. It was a wonderful presentation, and I was so glad that the Keizer Heritage Museum brought Russ and his family here for that. We also want a big shout out and thank you to our neighborhood associations for the work session we had. Looking forward to our ordinance coming forward, remembering that we are updating an ordinance from the last century. That is it's been a while. We've worked on it for over a year. This is a huge leap, and I really appreciate everybody leaning in to make this large change and update that has been long overdue. Let's see, Lupe's house. Really excited that Bridgeway Community Health chose Keizer and worked with a local realtor and had many wonderful things to say about our planning department and helping get to yes for Lupe's house, which had the ribbon cutting on Friday. This will be a stabilization home for up to 9 women who need sober living conditions and a safe space. And quite frankly, it is an oasis. The gardens, the beautiful design of the house space, the colors are all designed for a peaceful and healing living experience. And just want to congratulate Bridgeway Community Health, their partners. Thank you to the City of Keizer's staff for helping get this place up and running. The first resident moved in on Monday. Huge thing for our community. Coming up, we have the SEDCOR, the Strategic Economic Development Corporation luncheon will be here at the Civic Center on Wednesday, and the theme is Untapped Technology. So if you haven't gotten your reservations in, if you're going to go to that, please let Ms. Bissett know to register for that. On Thursday will be the Career Technical Education Center Raise the Roof fundraiser. This is for the residential construction program, one of the great programs in our Salem-Keizer School District, Keizer-Salem, I should say, for residential construction. I will also be a speaker this coming Saturday at the Joys of Living Assistance Dogs graduation, again, held right here at the Keizer Civic Center. Looking forward to the passing of the leash of 13 dogs to their people. So this will be a wonderful day. But before we come to that, make sure that if you have done some spring cleaning and you are ready to take some prescription drugs and dispose of them safely, get over to Day Spring between 10 and 2. The Keizer Police will be more than happy to receive those medications and dispose of them properly. Next week will be the League of Oregon Cities Spring Conference, so I will be leaving on the Wednesday, the 25th, and back on Saturday, the 27th, 8th, whatever day that is. The Oregon Mayor's Association Board of Directors meets, actually I'm leaving 24th because the board meets on the 24th and the conference runs the 25th to the 27th. And I will be presenting on a session on how to update your charter, which is something else we did that we took from last century to this century in 2020. And I'd also want to announce one more thing, and that is, no, you covered all those things. We are good. We'll have the work session on the 29th on procurement policy and the neighborhood traffic management program, which is getting really close to getting ready for adoption. I'm looking at Tammy Saldivar, who has been leading the charge on this update from the early aughts to bring it up to date. So fantastic work. And everybody get ready for budget coming up starting the 13th of May. That's all I've got. Anything? Oh, by the ways. All right, agenda input. We'll meet on the 29th in a work session, 2 topics, the neighborhood traffic management program and the draft procurement policy. May 6th at 7 p.m. in regular session. Budget then starts on May 13th, 6 p.m. And we'll also continue on May 14th and if necessary, May 16th. And then on May 20th, we'll meet at 7 p.m. in a regular session. Anything else for the good of the order tonight? All right. Seeing none, the time is 9:51 and we are adjourned. Thank you all so much.